Welcome, and thank you very much for coming, some of you from far across the UK, to be here today at the University of Lincoln to see and hopefully celebrate the completion of the Drift. The purpose of this evening is not only to finally premiere the Drift, but also, and more importantly, to thank everyone who has contributed to making it. Without all of your help, we wouldn't have a movie. It's as simple as that. So, where did the Drift come from? Well, in 2011, it'd been over 5 years since Backyard Productions had made a feature. Now, I've been working on a space opera called Starlight, where 100 years from now, we'd all be living across the stars, only to find ourselves stranded in space. Now, it was a big idea. Too big, in fact. So my brother William, thanks by the way, suggested that I take one part of this universe and work on that, and that's what I did. And a few weeks later, I've drafted an outline for the Drift. It was going to be, it says here, it was going to be a simple, zombies in space setup. A crew would arrive, spoilers, the crew would arrive on a starship graveyard only to find themselves being on the menu. In August 2011, the Drift was given the green light, and we started to source material that we would need. Learning from our Star Wars parodies, we knew that we could turn yogurt pots into exhaust vents, carpet rolls into conduits. So, now it was time to film. So to make our dining hall the size of 2 interstellar cruise ships, we had to be clever. We had to build one part of the spaceship and film it before moving on to the next. We had to get every possible shot, scene, action, and reaction in less than 12 hours. That evening, we would be striking that set, ready for the next configuration. Let's just say, for example, our crew needed to run from one side of the ship to the other. Such a sequence would require the actors to run through perhaps 4 different set configurations, all shot on different days or even different weekends. This was a real challenge for everyone. Continuity was going to be key. Everyone knew who had to be wearing what, which blood wounds would be needed, what props would be needed and by whom. You all made it work. We had 12 shooting days to film. That's all you can ask for when you can't pay your 100-strong cast and crew. It's all at the weekends. Who would have thought that post-production would have taken so long? Well, all the visual effects artists for a start. Thing is, it wasn't meant to be like this. To reduce the amount of visual effects, only one of the 15 set configurations had a green screen. One other had a small window. The Deliverance had a lot of windows, and we used it a lot. And the windows were big. Another challenge was making all the CGI models themselves. Unlike in our Star Wars movies, we had to make all the ships from scratch. You couldn't download them. Everything was new and original. With over 30,000 CGI items floating in the Drift, and over 20 spaceships, as well as the principal models, the cargo liner and the Deliverance, we had our work cut out. We had over 50 artists from across the world contributing to the project, from Mexico, Ecuador, Eastern Europe, Scandinavia, the USA, and Luton. Some of us gave us a handful of shots, some a few more. All of them vital and gratefully received. Before we watch the film, I think it's important that we're reminded perhaps as to why we all made the Drift. After all, none of us got paid. The budget was just £5,000. The appeal of making the Drift, apart from it being a super cool science fiction movie set in space, was to showcase what we can do, even when we don't have all the resources that others might depend on. Working here at the University of Lincoln, I often hear the question, how do we get industry experience if there aren't any opportunities? Well, for many of us involved, this is exactly why we made the Drift, to give ourselves that opportunity. The students and volunteers were part of a 100-strong cast and crew on sets larger than houses to produce a full feature-length movie. Now that is sure to get you noticed. Remember what it was that you contributed and use it for your next step in the creative ladder. Now, unlike major movie players, we as a low-budget production have additional challenges to overcome. For example, we know that on The Drift we could have had more lights, but we didn't have more lights. But that didn't stop us. We made the film anyway, and we did the best with what we had. We knew that shooting on several different camera types would not look as good. We'd have trouble making it all look the same on screen, and it would add complexity on set. But we didn't have lots of the same camera, and we didn't have the time to shoot everything on just one and get the shots we wanted. But we made the film anyway, and we did the best with what we had. What we did, no professional Hollywood producer could do. We made it bigger, bolder, and better with less. And that only happened because all of you believed we could do it. There are plenty of reasons why we should not have made this movie. But tonight, in front of me, there are 100 reasons why we did. Everyone's a critic. Not everyone is a filmmaker. But you guys are. You stepped up. You made The Drift the best it could be. It's your movie. Over the past 3.5 years, I've been to The Drift and back hundreds of times. I know the crew of The Deliverance so well, they're almost like a part of my family. I've seen their evolution from script to screen, and for me, the journey of producing The Drift is finally coming to an end. But for you, The Drift is just beginning. Movies are great because just for a moment, they put your life on hold and take you somewhere where you want to be. Right now, it's time to go to The Drift. Thank you.